Not every revolution starts with a sword. Sometimes it starts with a scream of grief. Hello, story lovers. Today is a story not of kings or emperors. It's a story of two sisters, two women, two warriors who led thousands into battle, not for land or power, but for dignity. Long before Joan of Arc or before Mulan became a myth, they were the Trang Sisters of Vietnam. They didn't just fight a war, they lit a fire the Chinese Empire couldn't put out. Not with armies, not with fear, and not even with death. Let me take you back, like way back to the first century Vietnam. At the time, it wasn't even called Vietnam. The land was under Chinese rule, conquered by the Han Dynasty. To the locals, it was oppression. To the Chinese governors, it was just another colony. And like most colonies, it was drained. The people were overtaxed, their languages and customs were erased, their land was taken, their temples were closed down. Women who once held power and owned land in local culture were treated as nothing under the new laws. And then came the last straw. Trong Trak, the elder sister, was married to a nobleman named T. Sak, a man who dared to speak out against Chinese cruelty. He wanted justice. The governor wanted silence, so they murdered him. And that's when Trong Trak stopped being a noble woman. She became a warrior, alongside her younger sister, Trong Nihi. She did something no one expected. She called for open rebellion. And surprise, surprise, people came running. Not just a few loyal men or villagers. No, we're talking farmers, widows, women, people with nothing left to lose. Some say she raised an army of 80,000 and many of them were women. Think about that. In a time where women weren't supposed to lead, didn't have the ability to lead, or the intelligence, so they say, to lead. Two sisters didn't just lead a revolt, they commanded an army. And they won. They were winning one by one. The Chinese outposts fell. They recaptured over 60 cities and citadels across what is now northern Vietnam. The Han officials either fled, surrendered, or were executed. And for the first time in over 100 years, Vietnam was free, and Trong Trak was crowned queen. But empires don't take rebellion lightly. The Han Dynasty, humiliated, responded with full force. In 42 CE, the emperor sent his best general, Ma Yuan, with a massive invasion force to crush the uprising. But the Trang sisters refused to back down. Yet the odds were impossible. The Chinese army was larger, better armed, and ruthless. They cut off supply lines, burned villages, bribed local tribes. One by one, the rebel forces broke. Desertions, betrayal, starvation, it all hit them hard. Yet the sisters held their ground for as long as they could. But by 43 CE, their forces were shattered. The exact details of their final moments are debated. History doesn't always write clearly about women who fight, as we know. Some say they were captured and executed, but the legend, the ones their people tell, says this, that rather than being humiliated, the sisters dressed up in full armor, rode to the edge of a river, and drowned themselves together. They chose death over chains. And that's why they are still remembered, not just as warriors, but as a symbol of resistance, of leadership, of pride, of dignity. Long after the Han crushed their rebellion, long after the generals took credit and scribes erased their names from history books, the people did not forget. Temples were built in their honor, streets were named after them, statues were raised. Even today, they are taught in every Vietnamese classroom. They didn't live to see their freedom, but they planted the idea of it. And when Vietnam finally broke free centuries later, it was their voices the rebels remembered first. So they say empires last forever, but they don't. Stories do. And this one, of two sisters who stood tall when everyone else bowed, has outlived emperors, armies, and time itself. Now, they didn't have crowns, they didn't have sons to inherit their power. What they had was courage, fire, grief, turned into something bigger than themselves. The Trong sisters didn't start a war, they started a legacy. And this was Legends Untold with Whimsical Amy, where the forgotten rise again. See you next week. Bye.